Hey everyone, Rick here. I wanted to make a quick video to discuss ending the game in Revelations Battlefield, but also in Final Victory Points, because things are a bit different than what you might have encountered in other types of miniature games. So in Battlefield, there are three ways that the game ends. One player reaches 10 victory points or more during the scoring phase. One side has no forces left to play with, because obviously there's no way to move forward if there's no models left on the table from one of the opponents, or either player decides to just kind of pick up and be done. From there are such a thing as bonus points. So you get bonus points that add to whatever your victory points were at the end of the game. So you get one victory point for every 50 points you defeat of the enemy forces, and you also get 3 victory points if you played with a faction pure force. So a faction pure bonus is if you took something from one of the parent factions, like your whole army was only Core Republic or only Faust Union, only Union of Stars, stuff like that. You are allowed to, in Battlefield, to take units from any faction you want, but then you wouldn't have the faction pure bonus. Except with list building, which, mercenaries. You are allowed to still take 2 mercenary models as part of your force and still be considered faction pure. When it says models, it means units. Models and units is interchangeable. If you decide to take only mercenaries, those do count as being faction pure. So as we add more and more forces going forward, there'll be more and more playable factions. So that way, we wanted to create a way for players to be able to take units from different factions and not be restricted. But those who take only from one faction do have a pseudo handicap because they have a much smaller roster to choose from. So they, in our mind, it's better to give them a slight bonus for doing so because they're not out there just picking what might be the best units available to every faction and bringing those to the table. Once you have your victory points from when the game was going, whatever you had at the end of the game, plus add up all of your bonus points, you then have your final victory total. We also have a breakdown if there's a tie we have to decide who the winner is. So that breaks down with whichever side has the most units still active on the battlefield. If that's been met, or if that's still a tie, you got to go down to the next thing. Whichever side had a faction pure force, if both have that, you go down to the last thing, whichever side has the most painted models used in the game. I really don't think you're ever going to run into a scenario where you manage to meet all 3, but it is possible. And then from there, if we have to, we'll add a 4th condition. So that is all the different ways that you can win in Revelations Battlefield. Like I said, we wanted to do things a little bit different and add some extra things. And in my mind, this adds an extra layer of tactics that have to be used. If you just rush into the objective, you sacrifice all of your troops just to hurry up and score a bunch of points, and you're not careful, you're going to end up losing because your opponent managed to destroy a bunch of your units, and they racked up an extra couple of points because they kept knocking out your units. So hopefully this helps to explain how all of this works. If you have any questions about this, please leave those down below. We're happy to answer those, and we look forward to hearing about your guys' battle reports.